Welcome to Scandal Water,
where we cover the stories that have captivated the entertainment world.
I'm Candy, a longtime educator and community theater actress.
And I'm Ashley, a writer and co-founder of a local theater group.
We're two friends who share a love of entertainment.
From true crime docuseries to blockbuster movies to classic TV to Broadway shows and everything in between.
Each week, I share a compelling story related to pop culture.
And I chime in using my trivia junkie brain.
We stick to the facts until it's time to settle into our armchairs at the end.
Then we're simply two women with a strong cup of tea and even stronger opinions.
We're Scandal Water.
And if this sounds like your cup of tea,
follow the show on your favorite podcast app or the Scandal Water Podcast YouTube channel.
Oh, it's that time of day. Tune in and hear what the ladies say. It's time to bend your ear when the silver screen appears. Stories about the stage and screen and everything in between. So come on and join the fun. The curtain opens in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, Ashley.
hello, Candy.
We're back to record another episode. You know, I don't know that we said this last time, but our theme is anniversaries.
Oh, yes,
Big
yes.
special anniversaries
Yes.
is what we're going to focus on this month. We have another fun one that we're going to talk about today. And, you know, if you want a little peek behind the scenes, we're actually recording a couple on the same day.
Yeah.
So in our Rocky episode, you heard us mention Pippa. She's still with us.
She is snoozing and looking so adorable. I can't stand it.
So if you hear anything this time, it would be snoring, probably. Yes. But we are going to jump into another great topic. To kick this off, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play a little excerpt from an interview with Matthew Broderick that was published on the SAG-AFTRA Foundation website.
Okay.
And then you can react.
Why do you think that film has lived on generation after generation?
I really don't know. You know, I'm glad it did. I don't think I knew it at the time. I guess people want a day off, you know? I mean, I guess it hit something deep in people. I don't know what it is, but honestly, it did. I mean, because from all walks of life, you know, over the last 40 years, I've heard so many people say how much that movie meant to them.
So, of course, they're talking about what movie, Ashley?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Which is celebrating its 40th anniversary.
That is nuts.
It came out June 11th of 1986.
That's nuts.
I know, I agree. Well, I mean, obviously, he was talking about its lasting impact. It is considered to be a cult classic, and it is beloved. So with all that in mind, we have decided we're going to dedicate...
celebrate
yes,
Ferris.
we're going to dedicate this episode to it. So what's your background with Ferris Bueller?
Oh, I grew up watching this movie so many times. I loved it so much. Although watching it as an adult is a different experience as watching it as a kid, because I have a different opinion of Ferris than I did when I was a kid, but he is utterly charming.
And the movie is so fun.
It's so
regardless
fun.
of your opinion, whether you find him a little, I don't know, self-absorbed, or, you know, a little cocky,
yes.
It's still fun.
It's still
right?
fun.
It's
just
like
a party in a
joyous.
movie.
Absolutely.
I love the parade scene.
Oh my gosh. Yes, so fun. And you know, ending with that famous line, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
That's the theme of the movie.
Yes, 100%. Any other thoughts of things that stood out to you from that movie? Even, you know, if you can kind of go back to your younger perspective.
It was shot in Chicago, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I loved all the Chicago landmarks. I love where they went. You got to see, it was almost like a field trip around Chicago itself. You hit all the highlights. I thought the characters were endearing. Even the principal, the grumpy principal. There's still stuff that happens today that I will quote that secretary. I'll say, and no one knows what I'm talking about, but I'll say, somebody will say they have a bad back or something, and I'll say, well, with your bad back, Ed, you shouldn't be lifting anybody. Or I don't trust him as far as I could throw him, and with my bad back, I shouldn't be throwing anybody.
Isn't that funny?
So weird. The little
Things
stuff
that
you
stay
say
with you. Yes. I remember loving the way he would break that fourth wall and talk into the camera, especially at the end when he was like, "You're still here?
Yeah,
go
home. It's over."
Oh, it was so funny.
It reminds me a little bit of Home Alone, how Kevin would look at the camera.
Yes,
but Kevin wouldn't talk to the camera, but he would look at the camera.
Yeah, no. I mean, Matthew Broderick did it so well. He did it so well. And even after all this time, what is it? Bomb, bomb. Yeah, I mean, it brings you right back.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, buckle up, guys. We're going to be talking about Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which was, by the way, a PG-rated movie written and directed by John Hughes.
Yes. Yeah. Also Home Alone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a summary from IMDb. High school student Ferris Bueller wants a day off from school, and he's developed an incredibly sophisticated plan to pull it off. He talks his friend Cameron and his girlfriend Sloane into heading to Chicago for the day. While they are taking in what the city has to offer, Dean of Students Ed Rooney is convinced that Ferris is, not for the first time, playing hooky for the day.
9 times.
And is hell-bent to catch him out. Ferris has anticipated that, much to Rooney's chagrin.
Oh, Principal Rooney.
All right. Well, how it was written. Now, do you know the whole backstory?
Wasn't it also written in no time at all?
I think that was
John Hughes
yeah,
worked
that was
that
his way of working. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, you are correct. As I was researching, I saw several different sources that mentioned rumors of John Hughes having been inspired by a real life person. Now, I never really could totally pin this down, but let me share what I came across. All right. One rumor is that he took ideas from a man named Edward McNally, a lawyer and childhood acquaintance of John Hughes, who grew up on the same block and had a friend named Bueller, and a different fella, a writer and comedian named Ferris Bueller, whose biggest claim to fame was probably working on Saturday Night Live during the 80 to 81 season. He is the subject of a documentary called Saving Ferris Bueller, in which he claims that he helped inspire the famous character Ferris Bueller.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is he wanting some kind of monetary compensation for that?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming he's trying to make some money off this this work right here. Yeah. But I think he definitely wants some fame and some recognition for it, for sure.
Well, who wouldn't want to be the real Ferris Bueller?
Well, right. Yeah. But back in 1986, some of the key players gave interviews for a show, and I found archival excerpts on YouTube on the Reelin' in the Years website. And in one of those interviews, John Hughes said, quote, Ferris was and is, I suppose, the kind of person I would really dream about being. The guy that nothing bothers him. The world is his oyster. He takes everything in stride, and his best friend is who I usually end up being, which is the person that knows when he gets out of bed in the morning that everything's going to go wrong. He never admitted it was inspired by anybody. He always kind of made it sound like he just
his
wrote
ideal
it.
person.
Yeah, he just kind of created it himself. So who knows? But as you've already said, he wrote the screenplay very quickly. About 6 days is what he said it took. But now it's funny. I found an interview where somebody was asking him about that. They were like,
fully formed or idea. What is this?
What is this? And John said his strategy has always been write your first draft as fast as you can to see if you even like the idea.
Okay.
And then he says he might do 25 rewrites on the script.
All right.
And he said it
similar
continues
to
to
what
change.
we learned with Rocky.
100%.
Yeah.
He said it's not locked in until the filming is finished. He will change things right there.
That's so smart.
Yep, absolutely. He actually, I love this phrase. He said a film script is not a finished work. It's just a blueprint.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, to kind of piggyback on that, the actress who played Ferris's mother, Cindy Pickett, she said at a panel event last year that the famous last line of the movie was not in the original script. Again, I have already said it, but it's that life moves pretty fast. It's that line. She said it was something that John Hughes added at the last minute.
The whole theme of the movie is added at the last minute.
I know, isn't that crazy? One last note about how the script was written. At some point, John said in an interview that he had Matthew Broderick in mind when he was writing because he thought that Matthew was one of the few actors who had enough maturity and charm to pull off Ferris without coming across as obnoxious. Other people have said that John Hughes had them in mind. Anthony Michael Hall has said in different interviews, that he thought John Hughes had him in mind when he was writing it. But this is what John said.
John says himself.
Yeah, exactly. Which actually segues us nicely into talking about the cast because Matthew Broderick did, of course, end up playing the smooth-talking, charismatic Ferris Bueller. How old do you think he was when he was filming this? Do you know?
I'm going to guess 30.
23.
23? He was young?
He was young.
Okay.
Yeah, he was young. But he was already an accomplished actor. He'd been in the movies War Games. Yep. Max Dugan Returns. Maybe some other things, but those are the two that I wrote down that were notable to me. He was also at that time getting a lot of praise for his performance in the play Biloxi Blues.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was on Broadway.
He is a good Broadway actor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was,
in The Producers?
He was known for that.
Or he did the movie The Producers.
Yeah. But this would actually end up being the movie role anyway that shot him to superstardom.
Oh, yeah.
Matthew Broderick said in an interview that even though John Hughes was basically the Steven Spielberg of teen movies at that time.
Yes, he was.
He said he was a little hesitant at first to take this role. He said that he laughed when he was reading the script, but he saw that he clocked, oh, this is going to require him to break that fourth wall, which is what he actually did in Biloxi Blues. And he joked he was afraid he was going to be that breaking the fourth wall guy. Yes. But, the people around him were like, oh, you've got to do this. You cannot pass this up, right? So in a different interview, though, back in 1986, he said that breaking the fourth wall was harder in the movie than it was on stage. I didn't write his exact quote, but his basic point was that when you're doing it on stage, it feels interactive because you're getting something back from the audience. You're looking at them.
Yeah.
He said when you're doing it in context of a movie,
it's just the camera.
Right. You feel like you're talking to glass. Two actors who were seriously considered for the role were John Cusack and John Cryer.
Cusack would have been really good.
Yeah. Although John Cryer said he only learned that recently. There were some articles that came out and he was like, why didn't I ever know that back then?
I would have tried out.
Yeah. And then, circling back, Anthony Michael Hall. Here it is. I knew I had written this somewhere. It was an Entertainment Weekly article where Anthony Michael Hall once was reported to have said that John Hughes actually wrote the part for him. But he went on to say he and John decided together that Anthony needed a bit of a break, might be good for him to try some new things in order to avoid being typecast. And that's why he supposedly didn't end up in this role.
Interesting.
Yeah. So playing the Bueller nuclear family were Cindy Pickett and Lyman Ward as the parents.
Didn't they get married in real life?
That's
so cute.
They did. And Jennifer Grey, of course, portrayed Ferris's bitter sister Jeannie, who's the only one who can see right through Ferris's schemes.
I could be bleeding out my eyes and you guys would still make me go to school.
Well, to come back to your point, here's an interesting side note.
They were dating. Matthew and Jennifer Grey were also dating in real life.
John Hughes did this DVD commentary.
Yeah.
I could not find all of it. I found part of it. It was fascinating, but I heard the section where he comments. They were looking at the scene where Ferris is faking being sick.
Yeah.
And the parents are totally falling for it while sister is just like
fuming.
Bitter. Oh my gosh. She looks like she's about to explode. And John comments about how Matthew and Jennifer had started dating during the filming process and the two actors playing the parents later ended up getting married.
Yeah.
And he says that he thought it was so interesting when he would look at that scene to consider everybody in it was in love.
Oh,
I thought, that's
so
an interesting
sweet.
comment to make. Yeah. Jennifer Grey, by the way, is a few years older than Matthew. She was 25 during filming.
Was this pre or post Dirty Dancing? Pre?
Pre.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. But it was post Red Dawn.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So in an interview that Jennifer Grey gave back in 1986, they discussed the fact that John Hughes had said that she had the quality of being charmingly obnoxious. And John would say in different interviews that when he first met Jennifer, within minutes, she had insulted him. He said he came back with an insult, something to the effect of, I was happy your character was killed in Red Dawn.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. And it went back and forth a few times. And he said he knew before she walked out the door, she was Jeannie.
She's Jeannie.
Yep. She's got it.
This is an angry little girl.
Now, I'm not going to dwell here, but just to follow a quick, sad rabbit trail, Matthew and Jennifer were dating before the movie was released. Yep. Before the movie was released in 1986. But a terrible tragedy occurred in 1987 that put a huge strain on their relationship. When they were in Ireland on vacation, they were in a fatal car crash with Matthew behind the wheel. Matthew was reported to have crossed into the wrong lane, which caused this collision with another vehicle head on. An adult woman and her mother were killed.
That's awful.
Yeah. Jennifer wrote about the experience in her memoir that came out several years ago, and here is an excerpt from an Entertainment Tonight article written at the time of the book's release. Jennifer Grey is the one who is speaking in the first person in these quotes, by the way.
Okay.
I was the sole living witness because Matthew had survived, but he was unconscious and had amnesia and was very badly injured. I thought he was dead, she added. I didn't even know there were two other women who were tragically killed at the time. It's just something that you just don't come back from in the same way. I wasn't holding any information that people seemed to think I did because they wanted an answer, and there was no answer because it was an accident, she continued. And Broderick was a great driver, and nobody was drinking. It was just an accident, and it was tragic, and I think about the family in Ireland all the time. So they did end up staying together, and Matthew even proposed in 1988, but they broke up later that same year, and Jennifer moved pretty quickly into a serious relationship with Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
No
kidding.
Yeah.
She ended up marrying Greg Clark. I think, or Clark Gregg. Which one is it?
She and Johnny didn't last long, so I'm sure she moved on from there. But I did not even remember
didn't know
I was
that.
like, what? Yes. But to get back on track, we were talking about the cast. All right, so we've gone through the Bueller
Well, you've got
family.
another. Don't you have another tragedy coming up with the principal that played Ed Rooney? Another sidebar.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump to him then.
Let's get the tragedies out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not record a lot about this. Jeffrey Jones was his name. He played Ferris's nemesis, Principal Rooney, the one who worked so hard to try to catch Ferris playing hooky. All I know is that he was brought up on charges that involved
A minor.
and there was some photos and some child pornography charges, and he ended up on probation and having to register as a sex offender, and there was a lot to it.
Yeah.
It was an ongoing thing.
It does make you, when you watch the movie now, you're like, this principal is such a, you enjoy his performance, but it's like, oh, this is so awful
Right.
that you were
Yeah.
a terrible person.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's move on to a happier
Sure, let's do it.
cast member. Sara played girlfriend Sloane Peterson.
She was so beautiful.
Gorgeous. And do you know how old she was?
19.
18.
Dang.
Yeah, she was the youngest.
Do you know who she was married to?
I do.
Two
Tell
different. First of all, she was married to Sean Connery's son.
Actually, yes, he was first.
And then she married Jim Henson's son.
Brian Henson.
And they're still together.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jason Connery was the name of Sean Connery's son that she was married to. I had the same thing noted. I was like, what? What is this?
Amazing. That's what it is.
Yeah. So Mia, yes, she was only 18 when she started filming, but she was already a noted actress. She was coming off the 1985 movie Legend that she had starred in with Tom Cruise.
Not bad.
Yeah. She also had some experience working on the soap opera All My Children. According to author Jason Clam, whose book Ferris Bueller, You're My Hero,
Ferris Bueller, you're my hero.
the story of the world's most famous day off, which is, actually, it's already released now because
neat.
it's past June 16th, so it's already out.
Neat.
But according to him in that book, Meg Ryan and Kira Sedgwick were two very serious contenders before Mia was ultimately picked.
I like Mia in this role.
Yeah, she was good. She was good. Fun side note, Mia shared in a recent interview that her massive crush on co-star Matthew Broderick made filming a little more challenging.
Yeah.
But she noted it was definitely unrequited.
Yeah.
He and Jennifer were dating. So it was just something she had to struggle through on her own. And you've already mentioned her real life loves. Yeah. Alan Ruck.
I loved him. I feel
so
like
good.
Cameron was the hero of this movie. I always thought that she should have ended up with Cameron.
And there were times when it felt like they had
kind of
that,
were. They
yeah,
were holding hands, and it was interesting. Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah, and she said in an interview that it was about these three best friends,
Yeah.
even though she was like also romantic. Of course, her character was romantic with Ferris, but she was saying they all loved each other
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
So Matthew Broderick and Alan Ruck had worked together on Biloxi Blues. They had a history together.
Okay,
they
cool.
were friends. They didn't have many scenes together in the play, but Matthew said he was excited to work with Alan again because of his talent and also because it was just great to come into this film knowing he already had a friend there.
A built-in friend.
Yeah, they would hang out together, behind the scenes when they were doing the play and played games together and different things. But Alan was older. He was 29 when he was playing 17-year-old
okay.
Cameron. I think he's a very underrated actor.
I think he is too. Every time I see him, though, I always think, it's Cameron,
All right, moving very quickly through the last couple. These are just mentions. Charlie Sheen plays the
Yep.
man that Jeannie meets at the police station, ends up making out with.
Yep.
He grunged himself up to get that role, and it worked. Ben Stein famously
So
played...
Bueller.
Oh, my gosh.
Bueller.
That's one of the most famous things, I
It
think,
is.
from the entire movie.
Yeah.
The boring economics teacher who calls for Bueller Bueller and anyone.
Something, economics.
According to a New York Post article, he was originally hired to do voiceover work. He was just supposed to roll off screen.
Oh, really?
The cast and crew could not hold it together.
It's so funny. No, that's what it was. It was something voodoo economics.
They laughed so hard at him that John Hughes was like, let's just try him on screen. Let's just throw him on camera. Let's see what happens. He told Ben, who actually had a background with law, politics, and economics, just to improvise a lecture on a topic he knew. And that's what led to that famous scene in the movie.
That is so funny.
Isn't that crazy? Improvised.
And then wasn't it Christy Swanson who did the monologue, my best friend's sister's girlfriend saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. So I guess you could say it's pretty serious.
I love it. I didn't write that down, but I think you are absolutely correct. Well, on that lighthearted note, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the setting and filming of this fun movie.
This famous day off. There's not much we love more than spilling the tea with you every Tuesday. So, we've decided to occasionally take a moment to thank a few of our supporters who help make this possible.
Along with the fun, producing a weekly podcast also brings with it more time and expense than you might expect. Your financial generosity in becoming a member through Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon, both of which can be found on our website or social media accounts, allows us to keep creating these episodes.
We'd like to extend our deepest gratitude to one of our current members, Rebecca. As a thank you, Rebecca and anyone else who becomes a Scandal Water supporter will receive perks like discounts on merch and access to exclusive bonus content, such as our minisodes.
If you'd like to hear your name on that roster, become a member using one of the links on social media or on our website, scandalwaterpodcast.com.
Until then, we lift our cup to you, Rebecca. Cheers!
And we're back. Well, you've already said this, Ashley. They filmed this in Chicago. That's something we talked about it in some of our other other episodes. John Hughes.
Chicago must be a very filmable city, you know?
Yeah, and of course he was also so connected to it. I think it was just a thing for him. That was just what he did. Some people have referred to this film as John's love letter to Chicago because it features so many
prominent landmarks.
And generally speaking, they're prominent to the city in general, touristy, but they're also, many of them, special to him personally. I mean, this was a love letter from him, I think.
My cousin went to Chicago this year, Lauren, and first thing I texted her, I said, did you go to the museum? Did you get a picture of the picture? She sent me immediately back the picture. You know, the one they go to the museum and it's the dots. She knew exactly what I was saying, even when I said, did you get a photo of the photo or the painting?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. See, that, you know what I'm saying? That's when you know this film is such a part of pop culture. You know what I'm saying? It's
everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. But this is how personal it was. Ferris's bedroom incorporated a lot of the design elements from John's own room as a teenager.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And John did explain in that same DVD commentary that I've already mentioned why he chose a few of those different places. You mentioned that Art Institute. He put that in there because he personally loved it. He said it was a place of refuge for him when he was in high school, and that he made a point in that movie of highlighting some of his
favorite ones?
Yep, his personal favorite paintings. It's this may be the very one you're talking about. I don't remember it well enough because it's been quite a while since I've seen this movie. But
the park scene?
Well, what he says in this DVD commentary, he says, if you look closely at the painting that Cameron is so engrossed in, it features a mother and child. And he says, if you notice, Cameron is focusing in on the child. John explains in this commentary the style of painting that they used works out so that the closer you look at the child, the less detail you actually see. So as you zoom in, it's almost as if the child disappears. And he said to Cameron's mind, that child represents him and it's how he feels. He's disappearing.
He's disappeared.
And I'm like, how insightful is that?
Very insightful.
I love that. The movie actually made one site famous, and that is the scene where they had the famous Ferrari crash.
Oh, really? That's how famous?
The house and glass pavilion are located at a place referred to as the Ben Rose House in Highland Park, of course, Chicago. And it's called that because Ben and his wife were the owners.
Okay.
To protect the pavilion during the filming of the scene, they replaced all the glass with breakaway glass and shored up the structure.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they used that because it was so out in the open. They liked how it was situated, how it was right up there where you could see it so prominently, but it was also kind of isolated out in the middle.
So it wouldn't hurt anybody?
Yes, and also just the way I think they like that idea of kind of just the isolation. You know, it's out there.
Well, it goes with Cameron's home. Like one of his lines, it's very cold, it's very neat, and you're not allowed to touch anything. It's like a museum.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
I think of that line a lot too.
Yeah.
When I see a place that's very sterile, I think of that line. There's so many things from the movie that are lines that I think of
They stick
that
with
describe
you.
that describe
Yeah.
something.
One source noted that one of the most frequently asked questions about this film is whether they destroyed an actual Ferrari or not. And the answer is no. They wrecked a fiberglass replica that had been created specifically for that purpose. It said they actually made 3 replicas that they used during the course of the film. To me, I wondered, I didn't look it up, but how much did they pay to make replicas? You know what I'm saying? Like, how much
This is
did they
not
invest
Rocky
in
budget.
that?
They got some more money than Rocky did.
Yeah, apparently. One of the most famous scenes, which of course you've already referenced, was when Ferris, Sloane, and Cameron crashed that parade downtown, which was part of Ferris's efforts to cheer up Cameron and to show his friends a good time. What happens, of course, we all remember. Ferris takes over a float. He lips, yes, and then goes into twist and shout while the crowd goes crazy. And I loved that
It's
too.
the best scene.
So good. Well, John Hughes said in an interview that when he was working, like in his normal life before he got into all this screenwriting, he said it was pretty common to have a parade go by somewhere nearby in Chicago.
They just paraded everything?
Apparently.
Like Disney World, parade every day.
Absolutely. And he said whenever he could, whenever he was aware that some parade was nearby, he would sneak away from his work to go try to like watch that parade. It was kind of like an escape for him.
Yeah.
So incorporating this parade scene into the movie felt like another very authentic Chicago experience to him. And he loved it. I mean, this is what he wanted to do. So here is a brief clip where one of the crew members and then Matthew Broderick talk briefly about that parade scene.
And it just turned out that right in the middle of our shooting was this parade, a huge parade, and I'm forgetting, but it was something like the General von Steuben parade, who was a German or a Polish-German general who had helped during the Revolutionary War. And so the city said, here are the people to talk to. They were thrilled. They said, yeah, we'll let you shoot it.
The parade is certainly something I'll remember forever. That was nerve-wracking because you felt you had to get it. I mean, there were something like 10,000 people in some of those shots. So, you want to get it right because it's hard to get all of them to come back again. And we had worked very hard preparing for that. I think they did like a promotion like on the radio, come to be in a Paramount movie, which really means come work for free all day. But people are like, yeah. And but then when they got there and they blared the music out, everybody really had a lot of fun.
Matthew went on to say that one of the things he loved was the mixture of choreographed dancers combined with
just people having fun.
People who just happened to be there.
Yeah.
They just became part of that film experience. He gave an example. Matthew mentioned that window washer we see.
Yes, and he's dancing.
Yes. He said that was just a fella out doing his job. He starts dancing to the music, and John Hughes noticed and just decided to capture it on film.
I love it.
I love it too. Okay, just briefly, we're going to touch on something that's not quite as happy. This was something that surprised me, but it came up so much I thought we need to at least talk about this briefly.
Okay.
All right. We've said this film looks like it just had to be a joy to be part of. I mean, it's just so upbeat and it's all light and fun and music and, humor, except for Cameron's darker
poor little
part.
Cameron.
Right, poor little Cameron. But a few of the lead actors have shared that it wasn't quite as fun as it appeared.
Really?
Primarily because it was a bit challenging to work with John Hughes.
Really?
Yes. Again, I was a little surprised by this, but I felt like we needed to address it. This is pretty recent because, again, with this being the anniversary year, different people are giving interviews.
And now John has passed, correct?
He has.
Yeah.
He has, yes.
All right.
And nobody's being ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody. But
I would think that they would feel more able to talk about this maybe than if
Right.
he was still alive.
Right. And again, with it being the anniversary, they're being asked.
Yes,
Lots of questions
sure.
are coming at them. But Sara shared in a recent Sunday Times article that making the film was, quote, not that good an experience for me. And that it was because she didn't get along well with John. She called him a strange dude and said that one of the things he did, that she was giving an example of something that kind of rubbed her the wrong way. She said he would try to force the cast together for his own interests. So she gave the example of he, at one point, made them all hang out together to watch French New Wave films. And they were they were movies she'd already seen, but he was like caught up in it. And so he was like, oh, we're all going to do this, even though she didn't want to. She commented, quote, I didn't have the emotional maturity to deal with other people's egos or my own.
Okay.
Yeah. Matthew Broderick said that for him, this whole filming experience started out on a very promising note. In an interview he gave for Hollywood Reporter's podcast a few years back, he shared a fun memory of discussing the role while swimming at John Hughes' house. They were in the pool one day and they were talking about the upcoming filming. And yeah, so, he was like, oh, this is great. We're getting along really well. But then he said when they started shooting, it was pretty challenging to work with John Hughes, primarily because, this was his opinion, he felt that John was pretty serious when it came to his work. And he thought that John was just really nervous. Things wouldn't come out right. And so it made him...
But wasn't John so established at this point?
Oh, he was. Absolutely.
So why be nervous that it's not going to come out right unless you think your idea isn't going to come out?
I think that's it. This is subtext and this is me making inferences, but I got the idea he was saying that John could be a little controlling.
Okay.
Here's a quote from Matthew's interview. I remember we did a costume test early on. We walked around the streets of Chicago in our costumes and they filmed us. Me, Alan, Jennifer Grey, and Mia. That was a big drama. When the footage came back, he said none of us were fun to watch.
Oh, no.
We were boring in our tests. Actually, some of us he did like, but some he did not, and I was one he did not.
Ferris was? Matthew?
Yeah, Matthew, exactly. So Matthew was kind of making that point that he wasn't used to receiving such blunt criticism. He was always very nice and very respectful when he was talking about John. And he would say, I've had other directors who wanted me to act different ways or weren't real impressed by me or wanted me, they didn't feel like I was working hard enough. It wasn't so much that he was getting criticism. It was the way the criticism was coming at him. Yes, that kind of hit him wrong. And he said because this particular experience was so early in the process, it kind of got things off on a bad foot for him. And it got worse from there. So here's another excerpt from the interview where Matthew shares how the two of them butted heads. He was somebody who could get angry at you. Not outwardly angry, but you could tell. He would turn dead-faced. I would say, what did you think of that? And he'd say, I don't know, just nothing. Okay, John doesn't like that. He said, I like when your eyes go wide and then smaller and then go wide again. I said, if you tell me exactly what my face is doing, I get kind of self-conscious. Now I'm thinking of my face. And he was like, well, then I won't direct you at all.
Oh, gosh.
And for a few days, he didn't give me anything.
Oh, gosh.
Until I finally had to say, John, you have to direct me. Come on. That was our worst one. So that was their worst fight. That was their worst confrontation.
Sounds super immature on John's part.
It kind of does sound childish, doesn't
it?
Now, again, this was so respectful.
Yeah,
Matthew noted when they did disagree, generally short-lived. He said John was not one to hold a grudge. And he also said, he's so proud of what they did together. Yeah. And overall, this is a wonderful work. Yeah. Really happy about it. Moving back into what we were saying. Even if some of the behind the scenes was not quite as joyful as what we see on screen, this movie continues to be celebrated 40 years later. It is clearly a cult classic. I've seen it referred to as a cultural milestone. I've seen it referred to as a staple of 80s pop culture.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, and a classic coming-of-age film.
Agree.
People love this movie.
Armchair Psychologist.
Which brings us to the armchair. So if you have anything else that you would like to throw out here, please do, because I know this movie speaks to you personally. But the same fellow that I mentioned before, the one who's written that book, he offered this opinion. He thinks that the movie resonates with viewers, Ferris Bueller's Day Off resonates with viewers, because even though it takes place at the end of high school, he says, quote, it's not about the end of things, it's about the avoidance of that ending.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm going to see, do you have any thoughts about that?
Avoidance of the ending. I wonder what he means by that. So is he purporting that Ferris is taking the day off to avoid that he's getting ready to...
Like, is this going to affect his friendship? Is this going to affect his
or
relationship?
He's going into real life where he's not going to be the big fish in the little pond?
Yeah.
Maybe? Although part of me feels like Ferris just does whatever Ferris wants to do.
Right.
And he just felt like taking the day off, which has happened 9 other times.
Right.
So this is not a novelty. This is not a, I'm really stressed and I need the day off. This is just, we happen to see this particular day off. But it sounds like he's taken his own time. He's just involved Sloane and Cameron this particular time. He says it's for Cameron. This day off is for Cameron. I think the story is kind of about Cameron.
I think so too. In fact, I think it ends up, he wants us to learn life moves pretty fast. You've got to embrace it and, take hold of it. But I think that it comes across as this big, general, joyful little theme when actually we're seeing it play out in Cameron's life. He's trying to help him understand you're letting life happen to you. You're not
experiencing life.
Right. Yes. You're shutting down. Going back to that painting, you're disappearing. You're letting what's happening around you.
Disassociating.
Right. The way people are treating you. Don't let this make you become less of yourself.
Yeah. Which might be the kindest thing that Ferris does, because Ferris is pretty self-centered.
He is.
Super self-centered.
He's very obnoxious. Let's be real.
Yeah. Watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh, Ferris is not as, obviously he's fun and cool, but you see it from an adult perspective. You're like, boy, he's a spoiled little dude.
He is.
But he is doing something good for his friend Cameron, but it also benefits him.
It does. And also, it may have ended up benefiting Cameron, but come on, convincing your friend who's going to get in serious trouble
to steal that car.
I thought that was terrible to do to your best friend.
Yeah.
I really did think that was
Cameron
awful.
knows that he's going to do that. Cameron knows he's going to keep calling me. He's going to keep calling me until I come over. So he knows what kind of person he is. But anyway, the point is, I think we see Cameron change from the beginning to the very end where the car is crashed. And he's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to talk to my old man. I'm just going to say, we're going to have a conversation, which he never would have done in the beginning.
Right.
So the day off has helped Cameron at least.
Right.
I don't think it's done anything for Ferris necessarily.
I don't see an arc for Ferris.
No.
He has not changed in any way.
No, he has not. But Cameron has.
Cameron has. Yeah, he has.
And I guess Ferris decides he's going to marry Sloane because she says, he's going to marry me. I'm like, oh, Sloane, what a life you are going to have ahead of you, my dear girl.
Well, I thought I would officially end this episode with a clip that I found. Again, because this is a big year. They're all giving interviews.
Yeah.
So I happened to run across a Today Show interview with Matthew Broderick and Alan Ruck. It aired just this past June 11th.
Which is the release date, right?
Yes, that was the original release date. Absolutely. The two were not only there to talk about the 40th anniversary, but also to plug a new movie that they've made together called The Best Is Yet to Come.
Oh, well, I have to go see that. You've got me, boys, already.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
What does it mean to you, those words, now looking back?
I think it is moving, and I think it's that fleeting feeling of when everything was in front of you, hope.
All things were possible.
Yes.
If you just stay in the moment and enjoy what you have, you'd be all right.
It's over. Go home. Go.
I like that.
I
I
do
liked
too.
giving them the last word.
Yeah.
And I also liked what Alan Ruck said about appreciating what you have and being in that moment.
That is a good lesson from the movie. I think a lot of people, I know I've been dogging on Ferris, but that is a good, valuable lesson that he said. Just stop and appreciate your life every once in a while because it flies by.
It is fleeting. He said that. I like that word. It is fleeting.
I was 6 when this came out. I'm 46 now. That is a fast life. You know?
Things go fast.
Gotta appreciate it.
Well, what do you think? A big cheers to everyone involved with Ferris Bueller's Day Off, from John Hughes to Matthew Broderick and Alan Ruck and just all of them.
Everybody did a great job. But I think the biggest cheers goes to Matthew. I don't think this would have succeeded without his charm and just his personality.
Agree. Cheers to you, Matthew.
Cheers.
If you love what we do, please rate and review our show or become a supporter through Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon. Whether a single gift or recurring monthly donation, your support is what allows us to keep the tea brewing.
Subscribe on your favorite podcast app or the Scandal Water Podcast YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Show notes are available at our website, scandalwaterpodcast.com, where you can also access the merch store and more.
This episode was executive produced by Candy Thomas, that's me, and Ashley Raymer Brown.
That's me.
It was researched and written by Candy Thomas and edited by Ashley Raymer Brown.
A special thank you to Josh Martin, who wrote, composed, and performed the Scandal Water theme and other music. Matt C. Adams, who created the artwork, and Joshua Reeve, who designed our website and provides ongoing technical support.
As a reminder, this podcast is purely for entertainment purposes. The thoughts and opinions of the host during each episode of Scandal Water are their own and do not reflect the opinions of any future guests, advertisers, or clearly professional psychologists. Thanks for listening.